Okay, I've captured the output from my database, and the first thing I want to do is I like working with line numbers. So I'm going to turn on line numbers with set NU. Okay. I've got some header information up here at the top that I really don't need. What I'm after is I'm after this list over here in this column. So first of all, I can say from line 1 to 4D, and I've got a piece down here at the bottom that tells me there's 200 of these things. Let's delete that as well. And I did that with a dd command to just delete a single line in the file. Now, I know that I want to go from the first line to the last line in the file, and I want to take off this first thing up to a vertical bar character. So we'll do from the beginning of the line, I will do, and I want to inverse my regular expression so it doesn't match a vertical bar character. So I will do up vertical bar, so any character except vertical bar. We'll do star, and then we'll do vertical bar space to get those off of the beginning. So we're going to throw away that piece. Okay, that gave me over to that. Now we can do for the entire file, which is %substitute. I want to take the vertical bar to the end of the line, throw that away, and now I want to take all the spaces and get rid of them. So I can space or tab and throw those away. And now I have my list, but it's not quite formatted the way I want it. I need it in JSON format, so we'll do $1, $substitute. Now I want to take the entire line because I've gotten rid of all the spaces at the end. And I'll do quote. I'll substitute the line back in. That's what the ampersand does there. And I'll put a comma at the end. Somewhere my thing with spaces didn't work, so I'm going to do a U and undo that. We're going to try the thing with spaces. Okay, and do that again. I don't know what I did wrong, but this time when I go over to the end of the line, I'm at the end of the line. And what I have done to move around here is J takes me down a line, K takes me up a line, L takes me over to the left, and H goes right, so I've gone L. So if I want to go to line 167, I can do :167, and I can do LL, and when I get to the end of the line, it won't move any farther, so I know I've actually taken off the spaces. Now that substitute to do the quotes is still there, and I did colon, and I'm doing an up arrow to get back to it, and that looks much better to me. I have everything quoted. Now this is going in an array in JSON. So if I go to the bottom of the file with a capital G, I want to take off that last comma because it'll give me an extra element in the array. And at this point, I actually went into insert mode. The way I did that is I said A to insert, and I hit a return and a square bracket. To get out of insert mode, I hit escape. You'll notice that it said insert at the bottom. I want to go to the top of the file, so I do 1G, and I'll put an I to insert, which is insert before, and I'll hit a return. And now I'd really like these for aesthetic reasons to be indented, so I'm going to do dot or colon to get the command line mode. I'll do dot, which is the current line, comma, dollar is the last line in the file, -1, and I want to do that command right there to indent everything. And my file is now done. I have turned this from a list in data into a thing that can be read in JSON format. And mostly I've done it with a few editing commands and mostly substitutions using regular expressions. A real good way to know if a person is a VI user is they tend to go JJJJ, like that, to get down in a file. Every time you go and see some Word document and you look at something and you go, oh, there's 5 J's in a row, you go, oh, that person uses VI. So that's what this looks like after a few commands. And I am going to save this, to save things. You can do :W, which would write to the current file. You can do :WQ, which writes and quits. In this particular case, I'm going to do :W to write the file. One last little note in the process of editing on this file, this entire set of stuff, I never touched the mouse in that entire edit. I did everything strictly from the keyboard, and I didn't miss using the mouse once. It works just fine without a mouse. Yeah, a mouse is a real-time device. They're great if you're attached to the computer and you've got lots of compute power sitting right next to you, and they're really, really horrible and useless if the computer is someplace else and you're remotely editing. You can also use Vim remotely through things like SSH when you connect to a remote server, like at Amazon Web Services. Most server-side stuff these days is being done through remote servers. It's not where you're attached to the computer. In fact, there's a significant number of people these days that instead of using a desktop computer, you will see in development shops out in the Bay Area, more people doing this than you will see developers in most development shops running Windows. They have an iPad Pro with a keyboard, and they don't do any of their development locally. They do all of their development via connecting to the web, SSHing into a system at something like Amazon Web Services, and that's where their development environment is. Their laptop, which isn't really a laptop, it's an iPad Pro, is a remote terminal. That's all it is. There's nothing stored on there that they're using in their development process. Or there's somebody like a graphics designer, and yeah, they use the iPad Pro for doing some amazing things with pencil and graphics design, but when they get down to working on, their front-end web stuff, they're SSHing in, they've got their images prepped, they're working with it remotely through a terminal.